got something fun for you. Steve Kerr has already mentioned that this week's preseason games would be a bit of a, quote, dress rehearsal.
Steve,
did he not?
Yeah, he did.
Did he not?
Steve, did we lose you?
The lineup for tonight's Warriors game, as the Warriors, quote, start to experiment with some new lineups this week. First of all, Kevon Looney is not feeling well. So he's out.
I'm out.
So the starting lineup tonight will be Steph Curry.
I've heard of him.
Klay Thompson.
Okay.
Splash it up.
Andrew Wiggins.
I do a Wiggins impersonation if you want it later.
We'll do it in a moment.
Okay.
Jonathan Kuminga. And the last starter, Trace Jackson Davis.
Ooh. Man, nothing to see here.
Chris Paul. Styles, where are you? Chris Paul will be coming off of the bench.
Whoa! Yeah. Talk to me Tuesday, Willard. Yeah.
Dress rehearsal, Goo. Dress rehearsal.
Does he know how to come off the bench?
I don't know. We're going to find out.
Is that really a big deal? Let me ask you. Because everybody's fixated on this starting thing. Is that a big deal?
It's not in a this is my opinion.
Yeah.
It's not in a basketball sense. Where I think it was a big deal when he got here. I've argued this a couple of times. When people say the starting thing is overblown, I say, well, it's blown up because of Chris. It's because of the way he answered the first question. Now, he did an unbelievable job, I thought, at Media Day of reeling it back, and therefore, it's all calmed down. All Warriors fans wanted to see, and whether it was fake or whatever, it doesn't even matter. What Warriors fans wanted to see was Chris Paul come in here and have some respect for the organization he's joining and not act like anything's owed to him upon arrival. He didn't do that at the beginning. He did at Media Day, and you watch how much better it got. From that perspective was why I think it's a big deal.
Gotcha. See, I think this is going to be his normal role. Yeah. I'm eager to see what Finn. By the way, while you were saying that, Jordan Poole has 29 first-half points for the Washington Wizards.
Wow, don't tell me that.
8 of 14.
Down 22.
4 threes.
Wow. 8 of 14.
He can score.
Yeah.
We already knew that. We know he can score.
Bonta, I think
Are
it's a
they
big
down
deal.
by 12?
I don't even know the score. It's highlights.
Go ahead.
I think it's a big deal because Chris Paul is 11th all-time in the NBA in games started. And of the 10 guys who are ahead of him, all 10 of them have come off the bench in their career. In other words, no player has ever been a starter exclusively more than Chris Paul. He's the all-time leader in only starts, not another only, but only starts. He has never come off the bench. All the other people ahead of him who have more starts have come off the bench. So if Chris Paul says it's not a thing, then it's not a thing. And until I hear him say that, I think that it is a thing.
Dan, what's going to be the thing is who plays in the last 6 minutes.
Agreed, I agree.
Winning time. Who's on the floor?
Sure.
Who's not on the floor? Does that person have a problem with not being on the floor?
Doesn't that change, Bonta, depending on the game and the matchups?
Maybe a guy like Klay and Steph and Wiggins are saying, we play no matter what the matchup is. We deserve to be on the floor.
Well, and I'm wondering a scenario in which you're in a very close game that you tell your smartest player you can't play.
I mean, if he can't defend and you're going up against Denver, and Denver's got 3 7-footers, you can't play all of your Mighty Mouse 5. You're going to have some size on the floor.
You may have to, but what I'm saying is that's where I think we'll have a problem.
Do you think that that's already a fait accompli that Chris Paul is their smartest player? That's done?
Well, you know what I mean. I mean, I do believe that it's more than just ironic that they got off Jordan Poole and got Chris Paul. They can't be two more dramatically different players in terms of, recklessness and free, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I do think that, yes. And here's the other thing about him starting. I don't think he cares anymore. I think he gets traded. First of all, he goes to Washington first. All right, so he's discarded. Then he's kind of discarded again. And then he comes here and he's probably shocked a little bit. And the first question is, hey, you're going to be great with that second unit. I would be like, F off.
Whoa.
Like, I'll deal with that down the road. Really, any reporter, who are you? That would have rubbed me the wrong way.
He kind of did it. You coached
exactly.
him?
And he just needed time to, okay, whatever, I'll figure it out.
Well, I totally hear you, but wouldn't I be able to argue, especially in the world of major celebrity and being coached up by who I think is the best public relations person in all of sports, are you going to tell me that question surprised Chris Paul? It's literally the number one thing that was on everybody's mind.
But they hadn't talked about it, Mark.
Yet? Was he underneath
They hadn't talked about
umbrella?
It. Well, he was looking like, I ain't going to have this conversation with y'all.
Right.
Okay, so
when we ain't had it with the real ones.
So you're buying the idea. Steph Curry sat there in a room with the two of you last year and said, who's winning the bet? And you guys went, you know about that? And what did he tell you?
I hear everything.
So does Chris. Because he's Chris. He is a basketball celebrity. They listen to everything. They're probably listening to us right now.
No doubt,
Mark. They read it all.
But my point doesn't mean that he had an answer if he hadn't even talked to the guys and everybody admits they were shocked. That's what I mean. They hadn't talked yet.
Then don't have a press conference yet.
Well, in fairness, it wasn't really a press conference. They grabbed him in Vegas and put him there.
He was cornered.
And he can say no thank you.
He was cornered.
But what if he was What if he was feeling some type of way about everything?
That's fine. He clearly was.
Oh, yeah.
And Warrior fans get to feel some type of way about him feeling some type of way. I mean, that's all this was.
I've said it before, and I'll say it to the Summit audience. I loved his response. You coaching. Because she's not coaching.
Mark, I agree with Guru on this one 100%.
Don't mistake me. I don't hate the response. But if what you want is the whole talk to die down, it was the wrong response.
Can I ask Steiny before we get out of here, and you three,
let's go,
about why Steiny had that energy about Draymond's contract? A majority of it could have been what they could do with him and flip him whenever they decided to. Why can't you have that same energy on the Chris Paul acquisition, which they can get up off of after this year? Why do you not? Why do you look at those different?
I'm not sure I follow.
Because you said Draymond got the 400, but that was because they couldn't let him go.
Right, he was an asset.
They're going to use him as a pawn if they decide to. They can do the same with Chris Paul, but you don't talk about that that component of it. After this year, they get off of that money.
They can. It's not guaranteed next year.
To Mark's point,
it gives them optionality.
I think part of what they can do with them in the future was greater than him on the basketball court now.
That's probably, yes. It was financial and basketball-wise,
all right.
I think. By the way, you know what? One of the reasons I love Joe Lacob is you can really kind of mess around with him. He's a real one. Is Joe Lacob the greatest owner in sports? One of them. See, everybody's so soft. It's like you don't ask yourself, can he do it without Steph Curry? He's still got one more thing to do. He's got to do this without Steph Curry.
Why? Did you tell him this?
That's 5 years ago.
I also told him he wasn't an 8 handicap. I needed to see that.
Go to Boston.
Shasky's dad saw Lacob swing.
No comment on that.
Dibs, he asked Steiny where his collar shirt was.
All right. Let's go across the board here. Final comment. Is the Warrior roster good enough to win the championship this year? Guru, what do you say?
I'm going to say no. Well, I'm going to say no.
That's a weird one. Because I'd say yes.
What? Now, why?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Guru. Why do you answer that way?
Because they're kind of doing it on the fly in the way that this Chris Paul acquisition happened and the shock, and I get it, and they're going to give it the old college try. I just don't there's too many question marks for me on both sides of the defense and offensively and ego, all that stuff. It just has the components to blow up.
Steiny?
I hope I'm wrong.
I'm hoping he changes his mind by opening night. A good chance of that.
Why? So you can bet him again?
Like I said, I think they have a chance. It's a thin window. It's a very thin window, but I do think they have a better shot this year than last because I think they have a chance to be.
They're cheering you on.
Never mind.
He said something positive. He said something positive. Yeah, let's go. Let's go. He said something positive. Hey, stop.
MVP.
They're done.
Steiny the MVP.
They're done.
Game 7, Steiny.
I cannot deal with an ovation. They're done.
Too late.
I love that you think they have a better chance this year than last year, because last year's already over, so dumb. Anyway, go ahead, Dibs. What do you think?
I can't follow that. I'm here with Steiny, so yeah, Steiny, whatever you say. I like what Bonta said earlier about one of 7 teams. They're in that group, so yes, they're good enough. If they're healthy in April, I'm not betting against them.
Yeah, last year was a wreck. They finished in the final 8. Warriors have a championship roster. Got to have a couple breaks. We'll see what they make. Any moves at the deadline, but they have a championship roster. You got Steph Curry. You have a top 5 player on your roster. That gives you a shot to contend.
The roster is good enough. Yeah, will they win? Probably not. I'd say that about every team. But is the roster good enough? Absolutely. You were all good enough. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Fieldwork Brewing Company, San Leandro. If you want to hear any of that Joe Lacob interview that the Roast did this morning, it is coming up next with Mark Grandy on the best of the game. For Steiny, for Goo, for Dibs, for Bonta, for Joe, I'm Mark. Thank you all. Shoot your shot. It's all you got.